The letter arrived on a Tuesday, its edges worn. The ink smudged as if it had traveled through a storm to find me. Elliot, I'm dying. It read, in my brother Caleb's jagged scrawl, and I need you. Those words cracked open a wound I thought had scarred over long ago. My name is Elliot Harper, and I was 28 when I stood on the edge of San Diego's Sunset Cliffs, staring at the Pacific, wondering if I could ever forgive the man who'd taken everything from me. 5 years earlier, Caleb, my only sibling, had betrayed me in ways I never imagined possible. We grew up in a small, conservative town in Idaho, where being openly gay wasn't just frowned upon. It was a sin whispered about in church pews. When I came out at 18, my parents disowned me, and Caleb, my older brother by 3 years, didn't just stand by. He orchestrated the theft of my inheritance, my college fund, even my childhood home, claiming I'd chosen a life unfit for our family's legacy. Now, here I was, a graphic designer in California, building a life with Noah, my partner, who'd taught me that love could be a safe harbor. But Caleb's letter threatened to pull me back into the undertow of my past. The audacity of his plea, after years of silence, lit a fire in my chest. Why should I care if he was sick? Why should I save the man who'd left me with nothing? I met Noah Delgado at a coffee shop in Ocean Beach 2 years ago. He was 27, with curly blonde hair and eyes that held a quiet strength, like he'd seen the world's edges and chosen to stay kind. He was a nurse, always carrying the weight of others' pain, yet he made room for mine. That evening, as we sat on our balcony overlooking the city, I handed him the letter. His fingers brushed mine, steadying me. "What do you want to do?" he asked, his voice soft but piercing. "I want to burn it," I said, but my voice cracked. Noah didn't push. He just held my hand, letting the silence speak. Deep down, I knew I couldn't ignore Caleb's cry for help. Not because he deserved it, but because I wasn't the kind of man who could turn away. The next morning, I called the number scrawled at the bottom of the letter. Caleb's voice was weaker than I remembered, stripped of the arrogance that once defined him. "Elliot, I have leukemia. I need a bone marrow transplant, and you're my only match." He paused, then whispered, "I'm sorry. For everything. Sorry." The word felt like a slap. Sorry didn't undo the years I'd spent couch surfing, scraping by, rebuilding my life from ash. Sorry didn't erase the nights I cried myself to sleep, wondering why my own family hated who I was. But something in his voice, raw, broken, stirred a memory of the brother who once taught me to ride a bike, who shared his Halloween candy when I lost mine. Was that Caleb still in there? I told Noah I needed time to think. He suggested we take a walk along the cliffs, where the ocean's roar could drown out my thoughts. As we stood there, the wind tugging at our clothes, Noah pulled me close. "You don't owe him anything," he said. "But if you do this, do it for you, for the man you've become, not the boy he hurt." His words stayed with me as I wrestled with my decision. Caleb was in a hospital in Boise, a place I swore I'd never return to. Going back meant facing not just him, but the ghosts of a town that had shunned me. Yet, the idea of letting him die without trying felt like a betrayal of my own heart. I wasn't sure if I was ready to forgive, but I knew I couldn't live with regret. By the end of the week, I'd booked a flight. Noah insisted on coming, his presence a quiet anchor. As the plane descended into Boise, my stomach churned. The city sprawled below, a patchwork of memories I'd buried. I didn't know if I was walking into a trap or a chance at redemption, but I was about to find out. In the hospital, Caleb looked like a shadow of the brother I remembered. His once broad shoulders were frail, his skin pale under the fluorescent lights. He tried to smile when he saw me, but it faltered. "You came," he said, voice barely above a whisper. "I didn't come for you," I said, sharper than I meant. "I came for me." His eyes dropped, and for the first time I saw shame in them. We didn't talk much that first day. Noah stayed by my side, his hand on my shoulder, grounding me. The doctors explained the procedure. A bone marrow transplant was Caleb's best shot, but it wasn't guaranteed. I'd need tests to confirm I was a match, and if I was, the process would be grueling for both of us. That night, in a cheap motel room, I lay awake, Noah's arm draped over me. "Do you think people can change?" I asked, staring at the ceiling. "I think they can try," Noah said, "but it's not your job to fix him. You're here to do what feels right for you." His words echoed as I drifted to sleep, tangled in memories of a childhood that felt like someone else's life. Caleb teaching me to fish in the Snake River. Caleb laughing as we built a fort in the backyard. Caleb turning his back when I needed him most. Could I save the brother who'd broken me? And if I did, what would it cost? The tests confirmed I was a match. The decision loomed like a storm cloud. I walked the hospital halls, passing families clinging to hope, and wondered if I had any left for Caleb. Noah stayed close, his presence a reminder that I wasn't alone anymore. But the weight of my past pressed down, and I knew this was only the beginning. The hospital air was sterile, sharp with the scent of antiseptic, but it couldn't mask the tension between Caleb and me. Sitting across from him in his room, I studied the lines etched into his face, lines that hadn't been there when we were kids dreaming of escaping Idaho. His eyes, once so like mine, now carried a weariness that made him look older than 31. "Why now?" I asked, my voice low but steady. "Why reach out after all this time?" Caleb's hands fidgeted with the edge of his hospital blanket. "I didn't think you'd come," he admitted. "I wouldn't have blamed you if you didn't." His honesty caught me off guard, but I wasn't ready to soften. "You took everything, Caleb. The house, the money, my future, because I'm gay. And now you expect me to save you." He flinched, and for a moment, I saw the boy who'd once been my protector. "I was wrong," he said. "I was angry, scared. I thought I was doing what Mom and Dad wanted, what the town expected. I didn't know how to be your brother." His words hung between us, heavy with years of silence. I wanted to scream, to demand why he hadn't fought for me, but something in his voice held me back. Noah, sitting quietly in the corner, gave me a small nod, urging me to listen. Caleb told me about the years since I left. He'd stayed in Boise, married a woman named Sarah, had a daughter, Lily, now 4, but the guilt of what he'd done gnawed at him. When he was diagnosed with leukemia, Sarah left, unable to handle the strain. He was alone, facing death, and I was his last hope. "I don't deserve your help," he said. "But Lily, she doesn't deserve to lose her dad." That hit me like a punch. I thought of Noah, of the life we were building, of the family we dreamed of one day. Could I let a child lose her father, even if that father was Caleb? I didn't answer him. Instead, I left the room, my chest tight, and found Noah waiting in the hallway. "He's using his daughter to guilt me," I said, pacing. "How do I know he's not manipulating me again?" Noah took my hands, his touch steadying. "You don't. But you're not the same person you were when you left this place. You're stronger. Whatever you decide, it's because of who you are now, not who he was then." We walked to a nearby park, the autumn leaves crunching underfoot. Boise felt both foreign and suffocatingly familiar, like a song I knew every note to but hated singing. Noah sat with me on a bench, his arm around my shoulders, and I let myself lean into him. "I don't know if I can do this," I whispered. "You can," he said, "but only if it's what you want." The next day I met Lily. She was small, with Caleb's dark hair and a shy smile that broke something in me. She didn't know about our history, only that I was her Uncle Elliot. When she hugged me, her tiny arms wrapping around my legs, I felt a surge of protectiveness I hadn't expected. Caleb watched from his bed, his eyes wet, and I realized this wasn't just about him. It was about her, about the family we'd once been. The doctors scheduled the transplant for the following week, pending my final consent. I spent those days wrestling with my heart. Noah and I explored Boise, revisiting places from my childhood. The old diner where Caleb and I used to sneak milkshakes. The riverbank where we'd skip stones. Each memory was a knife, cutting deeper, but Noah's presence dulled the pain. One night, Caleb asked to talk alone. Noah hesitated but left us, trusting me to handle it. Caleb handed me a photo, creased and faded, of us as kids, grinning in our backyard fort. "I kept this," he said. "Even when I hated myself for what I did, I couldn't let it go." I stared at the photo, my throat tight. "Why didn't you reach out sooner?" "I was ashamed," he said. "I thought you'd moved on, built a better life without me. I didn't want to ruin it." "You did ruin it," I said, my voice breaking. "But I rebuilt it. Without you." He nodded, tears falling. "I know, and I'm so proud of you, Elliot. I don't expect forgiveness. I needed you to know I'm sorry." I didn't respond, couldn't. But as I left the room, the photo still in my hand, I felt something shift. Not forgiveness, not yet, but a crack in the wall I'd built around my heart. The transplant day arrived like a storm, heavy with anticipation and dread. I sat in the prep room, the 4-line cold against my skin, as the doctors explained the procedure again. Noah held my hand, his thumb tracing circles on my palm, a silent promise he'd be there when it was over. I wasn't doing this for Caleb, I told myself. I was doing it for Lily, for the part of me that still believed in second chances. The process was grueling, hours of discomfort, my body drained to give Caleb a shot at life. When it was done, I felt hollow, not just physically but emotionally. Noah stayed by my side, his quiet strength pulling me through. "You're incredible," he whispered, kissing my forehead. "No matter what happens next, you've done something huge." Caleb's recovery was slow, uncertain. The doctors warned it could take weeks to know if the transplant worked. I stayed in Boise, unable to leave until I knew. Noah took leave from work, and we rented a small apartment near the hospital. Every day, I visited Caleb, our conversations short but heavy. He didn't push for forgiveness, and I didn't offer it, but we were talking, and that was something. One afternoon, Lily came to the hospital with her grandmother, Caleb's mother-in-law. She brought a drawing, a stick figure family with me in it, labeled Uncle Elliot. My heart ached. I hadn't seen my own parents since I left home. They'd never met Noah, never acknowledged the man I'd become. But Lily's drawing, her innocent acceptance, felt like a balm. Noah and I started spending time with her, taking her to the park or reading her stories. She called Noah Uncle Noah, and he lit up every time. Watching him with her, I saw the future we could have, a family, a home filled with love. But the shadow of my past lingered. Could I let Caleb back into my life? Could I trust him? One evening, Caleb asked me to bring Noah to the hospital. "I want to meet him properly," he said. "The man who's been there for you." It was awkward at first. Caleb thanked Noah for supporting me, his voice shaky but sincere. Noah, ever gracious, said, "Elliot's worth it." I watched them talk, two men who represented different parts of my life, my past and my present. For the first time, I felt a flicker of hope that they could coexist. As Caleb's strength returned, so did fragments of our old bond. He told me about his regrets, his attempts to make amends in small ways, donating to LGBTQ+ charities, speaking out in our hometown, even if it made him an outcast. I listened, skeptical but curious. Was this real change, or desperation born of illness? Noah and I took a weekend trip to McCall, a lake town a few hours from Boise, to clear my head. We rented a cabin, the kind of place I'd dreamed of as a kid. As we sat by the water, Noah asked, "If Caleb gets better, what do you want your relationship with him to be?" "I don't know," I admitted. "I want to believe he's different, but I'm scared of being hurt again." Noah nodded, pulling me close. "You don't have to decide now. Just keep being honest with yourself." Back in Boise, Caleb's test results came in. The transplant was working. He was in remission, though he'd need monitoring for years. Relief flooded me, but so did anger. He'd gotten his second chance. What about mine? I confronted him, spilling years of pain. The betrayal, the loneliness, the fear I'd never be enough. He listened, tears streaming, and didn't defend himself. "I can't undo it," he said, "but I'll spend the rest of my life trying to make it right." His words didn't erase the past, but they planted a seed. I wasn't ready to forgive, but I was ready to try. Months passed, and Caleb's recovery steadied. He moved back to his apartment, and I helped him settle in, though I kept my distance emotionally. Noah and I returned to San Diego, but we stayed in touch with Caleb through calls and visits. Lily became our bridge, her laughter a reminder of what was possible. She loved video calls with Uncle Noah, who'd make silly faces to make her giggle. Back home, I threw myself into work, designing campaigns for local nonprofits. Noah took on extra shifts at the hospital, but we carved out time for each other. Walks on the beach, late-night talks about our future. Yet Caleb's shadow lingered. I hadn't told him about my life in detail, hadn't let him in fully. Trust was a fragile thing, and I wasn't sure I could rebuild it. One day, Caleb called with news. He wanted to sell the family home, the one he'd taken from me, and give me the proceeds. "It's yours," he said. "It was always yours." I froze. The house was a symbol of everything I'd lost. My parents' love, my sense of belonging. "I don't want it," I said. "I don't need it anymore." "Then let me do something," he pressed. "Let me make this right." I hung up, shaken. Noah found me staring at the ocean from our balcony. "He's trying," he said gently. "Maybe it's not about the money. Maybe it's about him showing you he's changed." I didn't want the house, but I couldn't deny Caleb's effort. We agreed he'd sell it and donate the money to a local LGBTQ+ youth shelter. Felt right. A way to heal a piece of my past while helping others like me. When Caleb sent me the paperwork, I saw he'd named the donation in my honor, the Elliot Harper Fund. I cried, not for the money, but for the gesture. Caleb visited San Diego that summer, bringing Lily. It was the first time we'd spent time together outside the hospital. We took her to the zoo, her eyes wide at the giraffes. Caleb watched Noah and me, his expression a mix of gratitude and guilt. At one point, he pulled me aside. "I see how happy you are with Noah," he said. "I'm sorry I wasn't there when you needed me to be." I nodded, unable to speak. Later, Noah and I walked hand in hand along the boardwalk, Lily skipping ahead with Caleb. For the first time, I felt like we could be a family. Not the one I'd lost, but a new one, fragile but real. That night, Caleb told me about his plans to advocate for LGBTQ+ rights in Idaho. He'd started speaking at community centers, sharing his story of regret and redemption. "I want to make sure no one else loses their family like you did," he said. His words hit deep. I saw a man trying to atone not just for me, but for others. I wasn't ready to call him my brother again, but I was starting to see him as a person, flawed but striving. Noah and I talked about inviting Caleb and Lily to our wedding, a dream we'd been nurturing. The idea scared me, letting Caleb into such an intimate moment, but it also felt like a step toward healing. "He's not the same man he was," Noah said. "And you're not the same boy. You've both grown." I knew he was right. The past would always be there, but it didn't have to define us. I started to believe in second chances, not just for Caleb, but for me. A year later, Noah and I stood on Sunset Cliffs, the same spot where I'd once questioned everything. We were married now, our rings glinting in the sunlight. Caleb was there, Lily clutching his hand, her flower girl dress still dusted with petals. He'd walked me down the aisle, a moment I never thought possible. When he hugged me after the ceremony, he whispered, "Thank you for giving me a chance to be your brother again." The wedding was small, just close friends and Caleb's family. My parents didn't come, but their absence didn't sting as it once would have. I had Noah, Lily, and even Caleb, a family I'd chosen, built on love and forgiveness, not obligation. Caleb's health held steady, and he kept his promise to advocate. He spoke at schools, churches, anywhere that would listen about the cost of intolerance. He told our story, not to absolve himself, but to show others a path to change. Lily grew up knowing her uncles as heroes, not outcasts. Noah and I started fostering kids, inspired by Lily and the youth shelter we'd supported. Our home became a haven, filled with laughter and chaos. Caleb visited often, bringing Lily, and we'd cook together, tell stories, rebuild what we'd lost. It wasn't perfect. Forgiveness was a process, not a moment, but it was real. One evening, as Noah and I sat on our balcony, the ocean stretching before us, I thought about the letter that had brought me here. I'd sold everything, my pride, my anger, my fear, to save Caleb's life. In doing so, I'd saved my own. I'd learned that love wasn't just the spark between Noah and me, but the courage to face the past, to forgive, to build something new. I looked at Noah, his hand in mine, and felt whole. "We did it," I said. He smiled, his eyes warm. "Yeah, we did." The waves crashed below, steady and eternal, carrying away the last of my pain. I was Elliot Harper, a man who'd lost everything and found even more. And in that moment, I knew I was exactly where I was meant to be.